one of the 1-1 teams that we're buying or selling is the Denver Broncos, who played the Colts. Very entertaining game. Lost on a leveraging penalty. On top of some other stuff, defense didn't really hold up. But they are 1-1 in a very competitive AFC West. Matt, are you buying or selling the Broncos?
Yeah, I'm pissed at Stone for including the Broncos because this is the one that
hard.
I feel the most conflicted on. Like every other answer, I know what I'm gonna say. And even if I hedged a little bit on the Colts, with this one, I'm still even in the moment, like not totally sure. So I think my gut says to sell on the Broncos. Yeah. And even now, I'm like, can I take it back?
So I can hear that. I just want to keep selling so I can just hear that sound effect.
I know. Even now that I just said that, I'm like, I don't know if I really think about it, if I really believe that, if I really don't know. Which is perfect for a 1-1 team, by the way. And the team that I was like, yeah, they're probably a wild card team. So I think the good for Denver, couple things. I'm obviously they got, picked apart against the blitz, like I just talked about with the Colts. But, by and large, I still really trust this defense. And as long as Patrick Surtain is healthy, I'm not worried about the defense. I think Riley Moss has played a really good football the last couple of weeks, especially in week 1. He's going up against day 3 rookie Alec Iomanner, but man, he was sticky in man coverage consistently in that game. That's a player I liked coming into this season. So I think he's had some good moments, some obviously some regrettable moments, but some good moments too. Just Nick Benito has been awesome. I'm not too worried about the defense. Offense wise, the reason I know I said I was selling, but the reason that I could talk myself back into buying is that I really liked what I saw at Troy Franklin in week 2. Not just how he played, but how he was used mostly as like a speed slot off the ball player, which is kind of antithetical to he was like a pure boundary receiver at Oregon. And I think that actually gets some of the nits that I could pick at him as a prospect. I could kind of get around that if he's being used that way. He really showed an ability, and the Colts had injuries in the secondary. I get that, but he had a real ability, really showed an ability to like break off the stem of his route and just like run away from coverage. And they kind of need that guy. They've needed like a second fiddle. He ran a route on 87.5% of the team dropbacks. That's just the 4th time that's happened for anybody that's not named Cortland Sutton since week 1 of last season that they've cleared 80%. So like they do, if he can stick, which getting the rug pulled from a Sean Payton skill position player would not be surprising if that's like just a 1-week blip, but if he can stick, that's helpful. I'm curious to hear what you think about the run game so far. I think it's been solid. And I think that obviously the more they can integrate RJ Harvey, that's another thing. Like they have some young players who can get better in the second half of the season. The thing that's weird is like kind of how they've done with Bo Nix so far. And this is maybe the thing that I'm most putting the pause button on, is that like we're in year 2 and we're still like cutting the field in half for him. We're still like a lot of rollouts and just slicing off one side of the field. I'm hoping for more, in year 2. And maybe as we get some more pass catchers integrated here, maybe if Troy Franklin really emerges, we get a better game out of Cortland Sutton going forward than we got last week. Then I think maybe we can activate the full field. But yeah, so far it's just been a little bit of a limited menu with Bo Nix so far through the first 2 weeks. And I'm hoping that's just a blip, but that's the thing that kind of gives me a little bit of pause. Like we're in year 2 with our first round pick quarterback who's had a lot of snaps. Why are we still feel a little training wheels ish, which I'm sure Broncos fans are not going to be happy that I said that. But again, that's less about Nix and more about like, it's more of the, like, why is that type thing?
No, I'm with you. I wanted to see the next step from the offense. Oh man, how to phrase this though. God, I really want to hear that sell sound effect one more time. Okay, I am buying them as a playoff team still. Like I am, just because I am selling my number 1 defense take. So maybe that's take poker. Sorry, Stone. That I'm selling the number 1 defense take. Still think it's a top 10 defense, but it just easily. But just like maybe some other teams have, kind of risen that we might be talking about on the show. Seahawks defense actually is one of them, but it's more I don't know. But the offense as well. I completely agree with you on the YouTube show. You can see his target map. I also just think it is training wheels. Like the opening script, Broncos offense is like the best offense. Just watch them just churn through people. It's awesome. It's just like everything works. Everything's great. And then when it kind of comes around, once you get into red zone, it's nice. Once you get into some third down stuff, there's some good stuff just because it's designed. God, just the drop back flowness, the fluidity of this offense just kind of just feels not there. And so that's kind of what you're getting at, like where the training wheels can slow down an offense, where everything feels very robotic, feels very in structure, I should say. And that's how kind of just Knicks feels still, without those kind of explosives to really help it all out. There's a lot of stuff underneath. I thought the go ball touchdown was really nice. I believe that was to Marvin Mims. I thought that was a nice decision, a nice person to attack, the right time to attack it. But a lot of stuff just ends up underneath in this offense, even though that they have a great or a very good O-line at the very least. One of the better O-lines that doesn't give up a lot of pressure. And yeah, I just am not feeling maybe that next step yet. But like you said, maybe some of the young guys get ramped up. Sean Payton last year really ramped up this offense as the season went along. And that's the thing. I just said all those things. And there's, talking about the Colts game and everything, there's Bo Nix finished with a 50% dropback success rate. Like, I can't slouch that. Like, the ball is moving. It's not what I prefer. 4.9 average air yards is not what I prefer of an offensive attack. But again, that is working. It's their formula. Their formula, though, needs the defense. If you're going to play offense that way, that needs to be a badass defense like we think it's going to be. And I still think it is going to be a very good defense. I'm just kind of like selling a little bit that number one defense take. That's really it. Still buying them. I just think I'm with you where I just maybe thought I'd see it a little bit more through these first couple of weeks. Maybe just, yeah. Obviously, if they started 2-0, we're talking a little differently. But yeah, still think they just have enough to really get it done.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's just, we're going to talk about the Chiefs later, but like, man, it's theirs for the taking. Like, it's there. If they just got to clean it up, it's their division for the taking.
I think I'm selling relative to I think I had them as the 5th seed. And so far they feel more like a 7th seed team. Like, still can make the playoffs. I still think they can be a playoff team, but they feel a little bit more like I'm still waiting for that next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think they've taken a step back. I just don't think they've taken a step forward. And based on the way I had them coming into the year, I had them kind of taking that step forward. I just looked this up because, you mentioned it. Like, and again, this is hyper specific. Like, I'm sure it's a small sample size. But on first down in the second, third, and fourth quarter, so kind of taking out those scripted plays, obviously, and it's kind of what you talked about there. They're 22nd in offensive success rate as a passing team. So first down pass attempts, second, third, fourth quarter. It's like between the Cardinals, who we just talked about, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Falcons are in this like same territory of teams. So like that's an area where I need to see a little bit more, as we're kind of pointing out here. So yeah, selling them as the 5th seed in the AFC, but I still think I can buy them as a playoff team, and I'm willing to completely course correct and admit I was wrong in a couple of weeks.
It's so funny that we're saying the exact same thing, but I went buy and you went sell. See, that's how you cover your bases here on Football 3.0.
Totally.
Because I'm like, I'm buying, but I'm selling how high I had them ranked. Yeah. But no, I'm glad you looked that up, because that's just how it feels. It's just like one. And this is what my discussion when we did the preview show on them, other discussions about Bo Nix and this offense that's what it was. I just want to see more in the flow of the offense, where stuff just looks the passing game wise. I think the run game is going to be fine. Dobbins is Dobbins. Like, I think Dobbins is kind of, you're kind of mid-tier back now, maybe, mid-tier +1 back. And RJ Harvey provides a little bit of juice in that backfield as well. They're shorting that usage, and that's how Sean Payton is with rookies. But I think that run game is going to be a average or better, 16th or better run game, which is good. That's what this team needs. Just got to figure out the passing game and just getting true drop back stuff kind of going a little bit. And that's on Knicks. And, the pass catcher's kind of figuring that out. So it's kind of a wait and see on all that. The next team that, I don't know, ask me on a different day and I have a different opinion on this team. I cannot figure this team out, and I rewatched them and I still can't really figure them out. And that's after they dropped a 50 burger on a division rival. Is it a 50 burger? I know it's a 40 burger. Is it a 50 steak, 50 sandwich, 50 whatever? But it's the Detroit Lions, who are now 1-1. What do you think, Matt? Are you buying or selling this Detroit Lions team?
I think I'm buying after week one. Like that was just like, I wrote a whole piece on this, and actually it was funny. Yeah. Like we talked about this on Fantasy Film Room last week, and then I wrote the piece after talking to you, which I kind of hated that I did it that way because I had so many more good like nuggets to potentially bring to the table that were all in the article that I wrote. Yeah. So this is from week one. There was a really good chart that Scott Barrett, who works at Fantasy Points, put out. So again, in week one, the Lions dropped minus 13% difference between 2024 and 2025 in their use of play action in week one. They dropped 23.4% in their use of motion at the snap from 2024 to week one. And to me, I was like, oh, that's not what you want to see, because we talked a lot about like John Morton, right? And how, and again, if you look back at like the school of team coaches that he comes from, you know, there's a lot of Gruden in the mix. There is a lot of, Sean Payton obviously is where he was with last year. They don't do any motion. You know, Gruden kind of famously was a little mixed on the play action stuff with Derek Carr back in the day. So that set off alarm bells to me. But then but then I wrote this entire article, and I wrote at the very end of it, we also probably shouldn't overreact to the fact that they might have gotten, you know, just wrecked by what might be the best defense in the league. And it's really easy to push all the play action and the motion stuff when you're not in negative game script from basically like the jump, when you're down 10 points coming into the second and third and fourth quarter. So like, I don't want to overreact to some of the play calling differences. Well, the first game that we get in week two is the Packers taking it to yet another NFC playoff team of last year, and they firmly look established as the best defense in the league. So there's that data point. And then on Sunday, they come out, the Detroit Lions, they use motion at or during the snap on 60+% of their plays. Jared Goff, 18 of 29 dropbacks, excuse me. So there's that. And then the Bears defense seemingly did not even know that play action was allowed, because that's how dangerous that the Lions were on play action. So I kind of was like, all right, maybe just week one, you know, your negative game script, maybe those were just unfounded concerns about the play calling and stuff like that. So I know they just dropped a 50 burger on the damn Bears, so maybe I'm overreacting to that overreaction, but I think I'm willing to buy back in on the Lions after week two and seeing them kind of just have that fireworks show. Maybe it says more about the Bears defense, but any concerns I had about the offense, I still think there are some minor concerns, but any like big flashing red lights coming out of week one, I think I'm willing to kind of extinguish those, at least for the time being.
God, I just want to hear the sell soundbite again, but I'm buying them.
Well, you haven't sold anybody yet. You got to sell somebody.
I know. Just wait. We have more teams to get through. Don't worry. One of them got crossed off, but I'm going to still say it at the end of it. But no, with this team, it's just the offense. And that's what the offense is what makes this team go. Even if I think the ceiling, Charles had a great point about this on the Sunday night show, where he was saying that with Morton, the kind of the range of outcomes might just be so much greater, you know, just so much wider, because as opposed to with Ben Johnson, where it's like he's very sensitive to game script and maybe can kind of just go into a turtle shell when things aren't bad. Again, this is a 2-game sample size, one on the road, one at home. The Packers might be the best team in the NFL. Like, you know, that's just like you never know what you're getting into until we get like 6 games at least. They do play the Ravens this week on the road, which is going to be a great kind of a litmus test for both teams. But this is what's hard about this buying or selling. I wish there's that third option. It's like yellow light. My son has also figured out what yellow light means, but the defense I'm still worried about. Nice. Like, that's actually what's getting all of my concerns.
Interesting.
There's just and I mentioned this on Sunday night, the botches are really real. Like, and that's scary because those are vets botching what coverage is I consider pretty easy to sort out. And watching it on all 22, it's not just me going off extrapolating 2 plays on when I watched it live and doing the Sunday show, rewatching on all 22. And I was just like, oh boy, like this can get manipulated. And that's against a Bears offense that was figuring itself out on the road. Packers obviously got after it, but the Bears offense is still kind of, we're just trying to figure out what we're doing. And they're able to move the ball on 3rd down. Caleb actually looked good on film. That's the interception, man.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was cooking. So I know that again brings me a little bit of concerns. But I am buying this team because I just watched the offense. I'm like, oh yeah, they can do that. You mentioned the play action stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, there's Jahmyr Gibbs bouncing the first touchdown to the outside and untouched. Wasn't even blocked perfectly, but untouched. Like Gibbs had an amazing pass protection rep. I didn't clip. He's grown into just such a complete back. It looks like he's added some bulk too. He's a great pass protection. Man, he's so good. But and Jameson Williams had some nice moments as well. Had one weird route. Still trying to figure out if he botched it or not.
He had 2 catches for 108 yards and I think like a touchdown, right? I mean, it was just the most Jameson Williams game of all time. By the way, 15 yards per attempt, 195 yards, 84.6% completion rate on play action. It was just because we kept seeing the play action stuff. I mean, just obnoxious efficiency on play action week 2.
Everything worked. I remember I said this on Sunday. I was trying to find some split because I was looking at the same play action stats. I go, and the non-play action stats were like just as good. So it's not like that big standout split.
Right.
His passer rating was absurd, Jared Goff's. Yeah, but it's over route to Amon Ra. But I thought it was really good. Isaac Tesla's coming along. I mean, geez, it's really fun to watch him come along. That's pretty cool. Run game's there. The interior trio. There's some communication stuff so far, but they're finding their way. So it's one of those where that's going to hinder them against better defenses. The Bears defense is bad. But it's not, again, it's so hard to discuss this stuff. That's why we are talking about it, but it's like, it's not bad. It's just not a true strength for the team. So it's just that middle ground with it's the bell curve. They're in the middle of the bell curve right now. Could they get better as the season goes along? Yeah, they absolutely can. That's what's going to help. One guy's a freaking rookie. So I do think it will get better, but I do think that can get picked at by certain teams, and get after him. But the defense, I'm keeping my eye on more than the offense now. So sorry, John Morton, for kind of dragging your name through the mud for a couple of weeks. But I do reserve the right. In case anything else falls apart with this team as the weeks go along. And also, we mentioned this with other teams and divisions. I'm peeking at the rest of the NFC North, and looking at the Vikings and the Bears defense, and kind of going,
2 teams not looking so good.
Vikings offense, Bears defense. Yeah, I'm not really feeling too good about them. So I like their chances a little bit better as well. Yeah, but I do want to say, an aside, Caleb looks good, guys. It's not his fault that his defense gave up a 50 fillet. Yeah, came up with a term there. All right, move on to. We mentioned the Vikings, but the team that the Vikings played, the Atlanta Falcons, played on Sunday night, pulled a victory on the road, a very nice victory, I will say. Defense actually kind of carried them to victory, but that might be one of those discussions of who is it worse about, the Vikings or more about the Falcons defense, which I'm sure we'll talk about right here. But the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Harmon, kind of funny to talk about the Falcons with you as opposed to Charles. Are you buying or selling what they're looking like right now?
This is another kind of conflicting one, but I think I'm going to say that I'm buying it. In like NFC South adjusted terms. I want to sell if there was some dumbass that came on this show that said the Panthers were going to win the NFC South. I definitely think we should sell stock in that idiot. I don't know who could have possibly said that, but that's a take I want to fold on right now. That is a take I want to fold on him. That was a take I wanted to fold on like 2 quarters into week 1. Like, oh my God, how could I? No, I take it back. That's a take I wanted to fold on when I got the news alert to like Ike Ekwonu who's gonna not play like to start. I was like, and now Robert Hunt's on IR. Bail. Strike it from the record. So definitely wish I did not say that, but the Falcons are a team that I feel yeah, fair. Carson Wentz in our lives in the year 2025. Nobody was asking
with
for that, and yet here
with
we
a
are.
backup center and a third string left tackle. Do we remember what Carson Wentz is?
Just like waltzing around New Orleans at the Super Bowl last year? Like,
yeah. That's right.
Didn't
just
think
hanging out,
like waltzing down, like when we were out, and I'm like, what's he doing out here? I mean, I guess he didn't have a game to play, but I mean, what are you doing out here, buddy?
Didn't think
that less than a year from that point we'd be talking about now he's going to start games in the NFL. So that is a thing that's happening. That team, the Vikings, is the team that lost to the Falcons on Sunday night, and it's definitely hard to parse that out in terms of Falcons defense good, Vikings offense bad. But I do think that I'm willing to be open-minded to the Falcons defense because they did get younger and faster in the offseason. They did like have a coaching change. Obviously, Jeff Ulbrich has been in there, and I think Jeff Ulbrich seems like he's trying some new ideas on the defense, which I think is encouraging to see. Offensively, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag through 2 weeks, but I love that they just could put their big boy pants on and just run the piss out of the football in week 2. That was awesome to see. Like, hey, you know what? We're going against a secondary that gives every young quarterback problems. We're not going to mess around and try to be cute. We're actually just going to get behind our offensive line, which even isn't fully healthy right now. But we're going to get behind our offensive line and just give the ball to our cartoon running back over and over again, just putting out like a show. And oh, by the way, we got another running back, Tyler Algier, who's pretty damn good at this thing too. And I think the passing game will come along. Like, I think Drake London hasn't even fully peaked yet. He's also dealing with a shoulder injury. Mooney is dealing with a shoulder injury. So, like, again, I think the passing game can actually really peak. So the more I talk about it, the defense is the big sticking point here, but I'm willing to be open-minded about that. Offensively, I still think like the best is yet to come for this team.
I feel a lot better of where the Falcons are right now, but I'm still selling them. And also just because I've been buying so many other teams, but I have to sell the Falcons still. I do think the pass rush is improved. I do think the team speed is improved on defense, especially where I was like, they are not going to be the worst defense in the NFL. And I agree with you. Some of the funkiness and Ulbrich, when he took over, I want to say Dan Quinn got fired when he was with the Falcons. Ulbrich took over as defensive coordinator. That was his first time kind of calling plays, and he did some really cool stuff on like passing downs and everything. And it's kind of one of those things that's always been kind of like in my head. But then he goes to the Jets, and it was just atrocious last year when he kind of had to take over. But that's all the Jets overall. Love the run game.
Also, double dipping between head coach and defensive coordinator. Like, that's like it was 2 promotions in one.
It's too hard on my radar. Too hard. Yes, exactly. And so I would stay on the defense first. They're a little light in the pants, which still scares me. And that I think teams that in a game script where they're not having a quarterback that like truly came and dropped back. I mean, the JJ McCarthy thing is just, I know he's injured now, but man, that was just so underwhelming. I know I'm not the only one to say that, but scary stuff and stuff where it's like, yeah, he does need some more time. And I'm very optimistic always. I always try to have a silver lining about players. And that's one where I'm just like, well, okay, we need some time on this guy. But I mean, they let up, 56% rushing success rate. I thought just because of the game script, the Vikings couldn't get that going against the Falcons. I just think that's always going to be the hang up. That was my bold take. My Hail Mary prediction was that the Vikings are going to run all over them because I see that. And I also just think AJ Terrell has been banged up and the corner play is a little iffy if you can get to there. The thing is also, if you look at their schedule, like there's not a ton of teams they play that can really take advantage of all that. So I do like that for them. I do think the pass rush is improved. I do not think it's a top 5 pass rush like it's sitting right now, but I do think it's improved from the worst or the bottom 5 to more maybe average. I just still think they have some weaknesses on defense. And then offense wise, the run game, of anything in this NFL, like any unit, anything, it's like Josh Allen, Lamar, the Falcons run game. It's like, those are the things I can kind of like set my clock to, and I know what I'm getting every Sunday or Monday. It's like, I know what I'm getting out of this. Ton of zone, couple cool designs to kind of open some stuff up. Bijan just absolutely looking like a god out there. and just unbelievable. One of the best players in the league at any position. But then the passing game is going to be volatile with Penix and some of the other stuff they're doing. I think Zach Robinson has to merge stuff better. It feels very, very siloed right now still. Yeah. And I think that is hindering the pass game a little bit, because there's some telltale signs. Like even me, these coaching staffs are so good and so well scouted that like even me, I can notice certain formation tells that they have right now, but that can come along. I'm buying more into Penix. I know what I think I know he knows what he is, and I really like that. And you can win with that. Like you can win with Penix because he can create so many explosives and do some nice things. So I am buying more into Penix. So I am saying more optimistic stuff, even though I am still selling this team, just because they just have that weakness that I think is so hard to overcome. If you can't stop the run over time, there's going to be some games you can get away with it. Over time, I just think that always gets picked at. And then over time, you start losing games because of it, and game scripts become bad, and there's a trickle-down effect of all that. So selling, but not as like a hard of a sell as maybe a couple weeks ago before the season or anything. They're doing some nice things, I think, in Atlanta. So just kind of a funky division to talk about. I mean, the Bucs are 2-0, and man, I could poke a lot of stuff of what they're doing in a bad way right now. So the Saints are 0-2, and I could actually bring up optimism about what they're doing right now. So it's just a very funny division. It's kind of, yeah, I know, right? Saints are one of my favorite watches in the entire NFL right now. Go figure. Like Spencer Rattler, like a competent quarterback can really do a lot, huh?
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yep. Probably shouldn't have spent the 40th overall pick on a guy that's behind Spencer Rattler right now. But that's producer Colin on the fantasy show is like actively trying to censor me from talking about the Saints. But I'm like, no, this is a fun, bad offense. Like they're not a good team. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they're difficult to play against. They throw a lot of cool wrinkles at you, and they have like just enough talent. And Spencer Rattler is just interesting enough. Like for fantasy, especially, it's like the best bad offense for fantasy because there's so much like volume and so much like motion and just like there's just so much pace. Like Juwan Johnson's like a every week tight end one at this point. Like it's the best bad offense for fantasy, but it's actually a little bit actually difficult to play against from an NFL perspective too.
It is. It's really well designed. They're doing some no huddle stuff I think is interesting. They ran a freaking one of my favorite routes, the Dino route, Chris Olave. That's a corner post. And it's the smoothest Dino route I've ever seen in my life. And I thought it was really cool, and just missed it on it. But yeah, they got Rashid Shaheed's good. They got I like it. I like their backs. Kamara's Kamara, but I thought Miller, actually, how about the young running back tout is getting there from our fantasy show, by the way, from fantasy film room. Some of those young backs are getting, Miller, of course, but then I think Devin Neal's interesting as well. Yeah. Saints are very much more watchable, even though we're supposed to be talking about the Falcons right now, but it's an interesting division, that NFC South. And real quick, we crossed it out, but Cowboys buy, sell, just real quick. Just, we can give one sentence. I just got to include it.
Buy-ish. I'm like buying-ish.
You're just staring at that offense. You're just like,
and I'm trying to just
the
like,
offense is awesome.
The defense was good. The defense was good in week 1. Like they can win shootouts, right? But the defense is.
The defense. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, 450 yards in 2025, brother. What are we talking?
I can't buy
about?
that.
Like, come on.
I can't buy that. Yeah. With that offensive line and everything. Yeah.
I said buy-ish. Okay, which means buying them as a team that's going to win shootouts.
But they're watchable. That's all. Hey, especially for a show like this, that's what we want. Even when the mediocre to bad teams are watchable, that helps so much with our content. So we don't have to keep talking about, it's Bills Ravens. Here's Chiefs. Exactly.